Welcome to Sway TV, a show created for the youth, by the youth. My name is Desire Parker, and today I'm here with Ms. Whitfield, assistant principal at Bowen High School. Hello, how you doing, Ms. Whitfield?
Hi, Desire. How are you?
Fine, and you?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, let's jump right to it. What are your strengths and weaknesses of being an assistant principal?
Good question. I think a strength that I have is that I genuinely enjoy working with kids. I'm a social worker by trade, so I actually fell into education. So I was a high school social worker for 5 years, and then before that I was a domestic violence counselor, and I used to work with elderly people too. So I think one of the strengths that I bring to it is like seeing the whole picture sometimes and being able to see you guys and what you deal with outside of school and how that affects you in school. I would say another strength that I have is that I have a tendency to listen and then read body, like your body responses in a situation, to kind of understand when you're ready to talk. So a lot of times teenagers, you tell a lot before you even open your mouth. So I'll ask, like, are you ready to talk about what happened, or do you need a couple minutes? Because if we start talking and you blow up at me and I just got here, that's not really helping the situation. I would say a weakness or area for growth that I have is that I give a lot of chances, right? And that can be a blessing and a curse. So sometimes when, teenagers need a lot of structure, and sometimes I'm a little bit forgiving. So that can kind of not work in the best interest sometimes of the adults. And I think another weakness that would be something for me to work on is just making sure that I'm continually tapping into things that you guys need. A lot of times adults, and myself included, will go kind of like by perception. These are the type of programs we need to have, or these are the behaviors that we're seeing. And one of the gaps is really asking, like, this is what we're thinking is working. How do we make sure that we're aligning? So I need to ask more questions. Would be an area for growth for me.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It sometimes is, but I like it. I would say the thing I like most about my job, honestly, the fact that it's a different day. Every day is something different. It's never like the same thing, because I will get bored with repetition. And honestly, teenagers make me laugh. Like, I promise, it keeps me on my toes. So it's cool.
How do you deal with complaining parents about their children?
So parents who are complaining about their children, so let me unpack that. Are they complaining to me about their children, or they're complaining about what a teacher has done to their child?
About children.
What I have done to their child. So that doesn't happen often, thankfully. But when it does happen, I think you let the individual, just like I would their child, like, say what their concern is. So I'll say, what exactly did your child say? I would say 98% of the time, unless they're kind of like all over the place, I'll bring their child down so the three of us can sit together. Because oftentimes the real issue obviously is with the child, and the child misinterpreted what I said, or actually what I said hit them the wrong way. So if an apology is necessary, I might as well do it with them right there. So the first thing I would do is give them space to talk about it, invite them in my office and sit them down, and then say, what did your child say? And then I'm like, reiterate what actually happened, and then invite their child down and say, somewhere in our conversation I offended you, and I'm sorry for that, but tell me again what I did so that I can unpack it. Because I don't want anybody to walk away and feel like I was bogus to them, like I did them wrong. So I really believe in having relationships with kids. Like, that's who I work for. Like, I work for you guys. So if we are having like a rough patch, it's hard to recover from that. So I think that it's good to like address it. And then I think it makes, hopefully, teenagers feel like their voice is being heard. Because oftentimes that's what a lot of my students will say, like, nobody's listening to me. Y'all don't even care. Well, I'm listening to you. You got my full attention. So let's talk about it. So that's how I handle that.
Oh, okay. What is your motivation for being an assistant principal?
My motivation for being an assistant principal, really, I feel that everybody should have access to like a high quality education, right? And I feel the way that education, unfortunately, is set up right now nationally, but you see it a lot in Chicago with the number of charter schools and a number of neighborhood schools and then selective enrollment schools, and the way that funding is set up is that it's not fair. So one of the reasons that I continue to work at a neighborhood school specifically is that I want to make sure that my kids are getting the same opportunities that a kid who chose to go to Whitney Young or a child who chose to go to a Noble Street school. And that, I would say, is very, very frustrating, and it actually taps into another weakness of mine. Like, I get mad, and I'm still learning the best way to channel my anger in terms of advocating for kids. So we try to get out, me and myself and my principal, and talk to people as much as we can about inconsistencies in funding, and the fact that, my kids on the southeast side mean just as much as any kid on the north side. So I would that continues to motivate me, because the opportunities that I had when I was in high school and being able to do experiments that involved using gas and chemistry, and when I was in 9th grade we dissected like a pig, we dissected a cat when I was a senior in anatomy, all these different trips we went on to, like, that's the same experience I want my kids to have. And when they can't, and it's because of funding or because something in the building don't work right and we gotta go through X and Y protocol, that makes me angry. So I like to let people know that. I'm glad you asked. For everybody who's listening, you need to be aware of the inequities in funding.
Well, that's all that we have for today. Thank you, Ms. Whitfield.
You're welcome.
My name is Desire Parker, and this is Sway TV, a show created for the youth, by the youth.